looking at similar triangles here. So there's a couple things I want you guys to understand. Is that you have to be able to write a correspondence relationship. You have to line the right angles up with the correct angles with the correct angles. So if this was a right angle here, and this was a right angle here, and I told you the triangles are similar, I would have to write it like triangle ABC, and then I would use this little similar symbol, and then I would say similar to triangle something. So the easiest thing to find is that B is the right angle in this triangle, right? So then F has to be in the middle over here, because they have to correspond. Does that make sense? Okay. The other thing is the shortest side is 3 over here. So the shortest side over here is going to be 4.5. So that means I go from the right angle B to A. So I'm going to have to go from F to D. Does that make sense? So D has to be the angle that matches up with A. And in geometry, we show that they're equal a lot of times by putting little markers here. I'm doing that so you can keep it straight. So since D and A have to be equal because they anchor the short side of the triangle, D has to be in the same relative position as A. It has to be matched up with A. So if A's first, D's first. That's what it means, corresponding angles. You guys get that? So then the last part is easy because the only leftover angle is this. And I don't even know what that little mark is. Okay? So that was what the homework was trying to ask you to match up the corresponding angles. It's a really specific answer, but they gave a big paragraph, so let's just use this. If I gave you a fill in the blank, like this, of that, if I give you a fill in the blank, like complete the box, you should be able to put the letters in the right order. Does that make sense? Okay. The second, so old, that's all the old stuff. The new stuff tonight is kind of old stuff. You're continuing to find missing values, okay? So you've been finding missing values a lot this year. And we're going to condense the next section because, well, for a lot of reasons, this class uses a variety of books, so part of the time this year we'll just be picking parts of the books. And so if you look at page 64, it's asking you, like number 12, for example. It's two triangles, kind of like my two triangles, and it's asking you to use the scale factor to find the missing side. So you guys need to work on that a little bit more. You've been doing it. We did this a lot last week. So the way I'm writing it for my problem is use the scale factor to find the value of x. Okay. And when you do your homework tonight, you have a lot of problems where you're just matching up corresponding angles, finding the equal angles, and then finding missing sides. And then there's one other thing that we have to talk about. But let's finish with this. So did anybody notice when I made the two triangles over here what the scale factor was? Yeah, Tyson.
Was it a 3 or 4?
What? Let me ask you this. What do you think somebody that's rushing could make a big mistake when they look at this? What do you think they might guess the scale factor is, Casey?
Well, they could only look at one side.
Right. And maybe they might accidentally think the 6 and the 3 match up, right? So that could happen, right? If you're rushing, you might think, oh, it's 2 to 1. But then if you did that, you should be able to catch your mistake, right? Because this is not 2 to 1. So what you have to do is you have to look at the correspondence relationship up here. You have to make sure that you know what goes with what. So what I like to do is I like to take my triangle, if it's in the book and it's written kind of tipped, I like to take my triangle and rotate it so it matches the first one. Because then it's so much easier for me. So this is now my angle F, right here. And now it's positioned the same way as this right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then I go, well, the shortest side in my picture here is FD. So I'm going to put D here. That makes this E. And then I know I'm looking for X. And the longer of the two is 6. And this is 4.5. And then I'm going to find the scale factor. And I always do ending, so the 6 compares to the 4. So that's kind of review from last week. Does that make sense? And that is the same as 3 to 2, right? Or 1.5. So what you do then is you take your 5 here. I wonder what happens if I draw across the board. Didn't do it. And I'm going to take my 5 and I'm going to multiply it by my scale factor to get X. Does that make sense? And that's 7. So 5 times 1.5 is the same as, yeah, it's like 5 times 15, 75, right? So instead of 75, we write 7.5. Okay? All right. So there's, what time are we out of here? 05? Okay. I think then what I might do is move one problem down to tomorrow. I'm going to take that problem 29 so I don't rush and add it on to tomorrow. And I'm going to just save this. The thing